Understanding self-doubt. First of all, it's a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior. You don't come out of the womb doubting yourself. In fact, if you look at any kid, I'm sure somebody's done a study at how many times kids actually fall down before they are able to stand up, right? They just keep going, keep going, keep going. We teach them to doubt themselves. You were taught to doubt yourself. You were. Whether it was from school or from parents or from siblings or bullies or whatever, you were taught to doubt yourself. You were happily going through life, and then you started to worry about what people thought, or you had somebody that was hypercritical, and then you realized, ooh, I got to gut check myself. You know, our son, we had an experience with our son where he went to camp, and there was a bully. It was a disastrous situation, but I'm not going to go there, but because you don't want to hear that sob story of mine. But he was bullied for 3 weeks straight. And the kid that I dropped off, who was exuberant and full of life, the kid that I got handed back after 3 weeks was like a shell of a human being. And what he said is that, you know, he got picked on all day long. It started out as like the butt of the joke and, you know, kind of making fun of him, and then it's a pile on in terms of that, and then they started screwing around with his stuff. And what he internalized is, I can't be myself. If I'm myself, I get that. And because he's stuck in a cabin with these kids, you can't hide like you can as an adult. So, and that is a really good explanation for what we do and how we learn it. Like, you have a couple things that happen to you and you start to internalize that, oh, I just better shut up. Oh, I just better shrink. Oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Oh, people like that act like this. And so you learn this. And when you repeat any behavior, it becomes a habit. Let me show you what happens. So remember, we're going to continue to build here. We started by talking about how you can't control the feelings that might rise up, right? You can't control, like if I call on you and you have the quick nerves, you can't control that. It's totally natural. You can't control what's going to necessarily happen in your life and business. So you're going to have feelings that rise up. These feelings trigger you to think. That's an action. You start to overthink in reaction to being afraid that you're going to fail.
Right there, I'm just realizing that you overthink for the good stuff, but don't overthink for the bad stuff. Like my reaction in the Hector moment.
Yep, the Hector
I didn't
moment.
overthink being an ass.
Yes.
I just did it.
Yes.
And when it's good stuff, it's when I overthink.
Uh-huh. Because you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
You're getting triggered by the fear and by the doubt. This is an action. I want you to understand self-doubt is not a feeling. It is the actions that you take in response to these whole array of normal feelings that we have. It impacts how much you sell or whether or not you sell. It impacts how you talk to people. It impacts whether or not you put your work out there. It impacts what you price things at. And so what happens is, as you overthink, then you start to doubt yourself, and now you're stuck in this loop. And when I explain the science of habit loops and how they get encoded in your brain, this is going to make so much sense and be so liberating. Because this is the trap that we're all in. You get triggered by your feelings, and then you choose an action that keeps you trapped and keeps you trapped in self-doubt. If you're nervous, same thing happens, doesn't it? If you're feeling unsure, the same thing happens. If you feel like a fake, the same thing happens. All triggered by these feelings that are perfectly normal. If you feel overwhelmed, you start to overthink. If you feel the fear, you're afraid of getting rejected. Maybe you had a horrible breakup. Maybe you lost somebody that you love, and now you're terrified of rejection. The second that you sense it's coming, start overthinking. And here's the good news. Any behavior that you repeat, and you repeat that stuff all the time, so do I, it's a habit, and we can change it. So how does self-doubt affect your life? We've kind of talked about that. Let me tell you how it's affected my career. Number one, I spoke for free for 3 years. So after that TED Talk went crazy, people started calling and asking me if I would speak, and it never